Hello and welcome to Best Friends with Benefits. I am Noni.
I am Kristin.
And this is another one of our impromptu episodes. I heard you guys just love when we just talk to each other, and we do that all the time. and both of us wanted to have this conversation about giving yourself grace. There are so many areas that I'm sure a lot of us are beating ourselves up about, especially coming off of last year. And, we're just going to have this really off the cuff, candid discussion on that.
Mm.
And I was going through this too with like working out so much. And then you just see people with a one surgery visit. What do you, what I can look like. And I'm like, oh, why am I going through all of this? And da 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 da. And Facebook memories will pop up, and then I'll see us singing, and I'm like as small as a twig, and I'm just like, ugh.
I think it also links to like gracefully entering new phases of your life. I think, being in my 40s now, it's a transition, and there's things that I'm no longer going to wear. So I can't be attached to, oh, these used to fit me. This used to look great on me. I mean, I just purged a lot of my closet and it was emotional. I'm not going to lie. There was things that I just bought last year that no longer fit me. And I don't know if it's like I said, it's my age. It's like my body's gaining fat in areas that I never had before. I mean, my boobs are bigger. My butt is getting bigger. It's just like weird. I mean, I've always been thin, right? So it's like, but I've always wished I had curves. And now that I have them, I'm like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know. It's like a weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and then when you were saying about the singing stuff, it's just like, I miss gigs. Like I miss our lives. And it's like this whole giving yourself grace about what we're dealing with. Like I just can't even, I don't even know what, there is not going to be a back to normal. It's going to be like a different whole thing, and it's just adjusting. I'm depressed.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, I'm fine. And no, like this is like a death of something.
Yeah. It's a death of a lot of things. It's the death of the life that you used to have, but then it's also the death of the life you thought you would be living into right now.
Right.
And dealing with all that crashing in. So I just hit record on this because I think a lot of people are probably dealing with a lot of these things of just like having to adjust. And we're calling it giving yourself grace because there is something to be said about that. It's not always something wrong with you, right? Like you're saying you had to purge your clothes and things you fit last year. Like there's so many factors. There's so many factors to that. Weight gain and like age, and but then also just like being home and in a pandemic. And I'm sure a lot of us were emotionally eating. Guilty as charged. It's just like a lot of people put on pandemic weight as well, but it's just like, yes, like acknowledging that's happening and acknowledging there's nothing wrong with feeling sad about it. It's not a selfish thing to like miss the life that you had or the life that you thought that you were getting into, but just like allowing yourself that moment. And I was just like, Kristin, if you don't feel up to it right now, we don't have to record. We don't have to do anything. And the last thing I wanted was to do something where you had to act like anything, So, and when you told me that, I was like, that's what we're going to talk about.
Wow.
Let's talk about all of that. Because it's relatable. And I definitely had those moments where I'm just like, and you pass the mirror and you're just like, what the hell? When did that happen? Goes back to that comparison thing, because we're comparing ourselves to so many things, like what you used to be and then where other people are. But then, you got a C cup right now. It's like
I have cleave like this. I have no bra on.
Listen, it's just like it makes you don't miss the points where you can be celebrating for things. Right. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, you said two things that reminded me of something. So today I listened to, I love podcasts, and I feel like it's research for us too.
Mhm.
And I was listening to an Oprah podcast, the Super Soul Sunday, and there was someone on who said something like, life is a series of choices. And when you start to own and take responsibility for the choices you've made, like you are where you are because of the
Mhm.
choices you made. And
Right.
he said, it's depressing to know that, but it's also
Oh, empowering,
liberating
yeah.
because you can choose then, like you're no longer a victim of your circumstances, and you no longer can blame someone to having the keys to your happiness. It's all within your choices. And exactly what you said, it's like we didn't know we were going to have a pandemic, we didn't know. And it's like the choices that I definitely made during that time. I mean, I was drinking a bottle of wine a day, I was eating a lot, so all the things that led up to where I'm at now, it's like I'm not blaming anyone else, and I can't even blame the pandemic. I made all
Mm.
those choices, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So that was the one thing that came up. And then the other thing that came up is I kind of forgot, but it was, I don't know, I just so get what you're saying. It's just like you can't make where you're at wrong because you did it. Like there's no one to blame but yourself. Like, and
Mhm.
I can't get mad at myself, and I
Mhm.
can't like beat myself up about it. It's like, yeah, be graceful about it. It's like I'm at where I'm at. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say, it's like I'm single. I'm
Mm.
single because I have chosen bad boys. Like I have always chosen the guy that was unavailable, that was emotionally unavailable. I have no one to blame but myself for that, because there was something in my development that I had to really get. Oh, I am worthy of a guy who's going to give me his full attention. I am worthy of a guy who can provide. I don't
Mhm.
have to take care of someone. So it's like it's like all these things are a culmination. And yeah, like you can't get upset. I mean, you can get upset about it,
Yeah.
but it's the keys. You have the keys to everything. And knowing
Yeah.
that is literally so liberating and so
Mhm.
freeing.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's what came up for me.
Yeah, and that is the scary thing, and that is the empowering thing. I cannot say empowering to save my life. Um, but yeah, you have the key. So you can wait for a better circumstance to happen. You can wait for a better opportunity to present itself to you. Or you can say, where can I make some different choices to put me in line with the life that I say in my mind I want? Because you can fantasize all day about what it is. You could fantasize about the body you want, fantasize about the partner you want, fantasize about the job you want. But if you're not taking any actions to actually manifest those things, um, it's, you're going to be in that hamster wheel of wishing all the time. And you don't want to do that.
Yeah. And exactly what you just said, it's all living in the actions.
Hmm.
Because I could have just stayed in my head. I mean, you and I texted before, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm in my head and I'm not feeling right. And now that I'm taking the actions of actually talking about it, I feel lighter, I feel free, and also sharing my point of view with other people might help someone else.
Yeah.
And it's like you're either in your head or you're on the court actually living life and taking actions towards what you want to create.
Yeah.
And it might never look like how you want it to look in your head,
Right.
but you can always, check in with yourself, and you look like, okay, I never thought I would be single and 40. Never, ever, 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 but this is what's happening right now. And I can either be upset about it, or I can, you know, make new choices that, like you said, are in alignment with what I want to create.
Yeah.
And you said something about comparing, which I think is really great. It's like that's also something you have to give yourself grace about, because the only person you should really be comparing yourself to is the old version of you. comparing you to you. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is how I used to handle this situation. But looking at Instagram and comparing yourself, I mean, I'll be straight with you. I've compared myself to you. Like, well, why, she has it all. Why can't I have it all? Like, there's been times where it's like, and it's detrimental to yourself. Like, you can't do that. You can't compare yourself to other people.
You have to literally think of that as you're running in place in a marathon. You're not comparing yourself or beating yourself up because someone is someplace. It's like not moving your life forward whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
And if you think of it that way, as soon as you start to go there, be like, oh, that's not that road is not taking me anywhere. Let me go here. I think that's the first thing. But I also think too, you give yourself the grace to not feel. There's just going to be moments where you're just not like ready to, it's just like, it is tough. People are like having tough times. Thank God the administration is switching over.
Thank God.
So, we're seeing a silver lining coming up, but it's going to
There's hope again.
Yeah, there's hope again, but it's going to take, like, we're not going to wake up tomorrow and things are all normal again. So it's going to take some time. Give yourself grace to, like, you feel down about it, but know that there's nothing wrong with that, number one. But then also know that you have the power to take yourself out of it. And if you don't, there are tons of resources. You could talk to a friend, but, give yourself some grace. And another thing we talked about this week too, you got to give the people around you some grace. Because sometimes, it could be our parents, our partners, our friends, our coworkers, our bosses. The people in your life are exactly how they are to allow you to be the person that you're supposed to be. You cannot always change how this person does, but you just think of that dynamic, that relationship, and how you have, what is the relationship? You coached me on this before. What is it called? It's like called the type of relationship where you get some sourceful relationship.
I'm just looking up a quote right now.
Kristin's quotes. But you have to think about that. Think of every single time you're just like, oh, why is this person da-da-da-da-da? Just think that they're supposed to be like that so you can be the person that you are supposed to be or grow into the person that you're supposed to grow into. I guarantee you how you deal with that person will shift and change, and you'll be able to move on with your life the way you're supposed to. It's just all about getting out of the rat races that take you nowhere. And the comparison thing, that is a rat race that'll take you nowhere, and complaining about what someone else does and they don't change.
But there's something that, we all get out of it, and it's an easy way for us to, like we were saying before, blame it on someone else or resist actually taking on the choices that are going to make a difference. Because even what you just said about giving someone else grace, sometimes that's hard. Sometimes you just want to be able to blame somebody else for your problems. Because that's easier.
Oh, yes. But then what results does that give to your life? Exactly. Yeah. The last thing that I want to do on this podcast is like say platitudes and things of like, oh, just do this. Everything is hard. Like if it was easy, we would all be Beyonce and Jay-Z right now. Like everything, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of character. It takes a lot of self-development. It takes a lot to forgive yourself, forgive the people in your lives. I'm not saying it like, oh, just do this and you'll have everything in life. This stuff is not easy. And we come with decades of like insecurities and experiences and things that like scare us off from trying things, or we hate confrontation. So we're just like putting up with things year after year and doing things that don't necessarily move our lives forward. So I just want to present new ways of thinking. And maybe in the next time you're in that situation, instead of just going to the default, try something new, right? If you tried that thing over and over again, or you let this person get your blood boiling so much that it completely stops you in your tracks and stops you from doing what it is that you wanted to do. It's just a new way of thinking, but I struggle with these things on a daily. Nobody is perfect.
Like, I'm just going to bring up that podcast again, which I think you should listen to because it was short, but it was so good. The Super Soul Sunday talk, and the topic was breaking open. And that sometimes, and when she first started the podcast, Oprah was talking about her weight. She's like, I've struggled with my weight my whole life. Right. This is something that I've been struggling with. It's just there, you know, and she was talking about how she wouldn't say her feelings. She wouldn't deal with her feelings. She would eat them. And that was her source of comfort. She would eat the feelings and stuff it down. And I so got that because I'm an emotional eater. I'm totally an emotional eater. When I don't want to deal with something or I have my heart broken, I'm eating. That's how I deal with it. So it just really got me present to what you were saying earlier, is that this isn't easy. I mean, even people like Oprah, who have like all the resources in the world, still deals with her feelings in that way.
Right.
So it's just so interesting. I mean, this is such a great topic because I think, you know, people that are listening can really get that there's nothing wrong with how you're dealing with it, but there might be a better way.
Yeah. And I remember listening to this interview. I'm definitely an emotional eater, stress eater as well. And Van Lathan put it in such a beautiful way of like dealing with overeating, but then also depression. He was like, for me, food was instant happiness. Like instant, I can eat something and you get a jolt of happiness. And he's like, and when I'm depressed, I want a lot of happy. I was like, oh my gosh. I feel very seen, because it's like, you have to think about that too. It's just like, it's a vice. It's like, and there are foods that are very addictive, you know, and it's just,
carbs.
Yeah, it's just, it's so immediately satisfying. Like you don't have to wait for it to kick in, or it's worse than like drugs that you can take, because it's like, it's so immediate.
The
and
ritual,
you want to keep it going, so you keep eating.
And it's so metaphorical, right? Because it's like you're literally stuffing down food. You're putting it into your body to fill a void. I mean, it's such an emotional experience, you know, and you feel like you're not getting enough and you need something, you eat. So
yep. And you got the remorse after, because you feel like,
oh my God,
all the guilt.
Right. It's so interesting. I feel like we could do a whole episode about
and we will
eating and emotional nutrition and stuff like that. It's like healing. First, you have to heal
the cause mind. Why you feel like you need to run to food and sugar. That's the first thing. Oh,
it's so true.
But give yourself grace to know.
But the moral of the story is give yourself grace when you eat
some damn
fried chicken, okay?
And this is what I
pasta
love.
Or whatever it is.
I know we're getting we're going off topic. It's fine. Hector, my trainer, he follows Chef Cavalieri, and he was going through like what he eats in a day, something simple like that. And something he said struck so true to me. He was like, if you don't like what you're eating, it's not gonna last. He's just like, I have dessert every day. It's not gonna be like a triple sundae, but he found exactly what it is that he loves and that it's still healthy, and he has that all the time. And I'm like, to me, diets are really like New Year's resolutions. Like you can't, they just don't work. Sorry, diet industry. I know it's like $1 zillion industry that's
doesn't work.
Only a few years old, because they found a way to make us feel insecure about ourselves and then sell us this one size fit all pill. No. But it's just like, it doesn't work. You have to find something that works for you, that works for your body. The secret to like the diet that works and like losing weight and all of this is that there is no secret. Like there's no, the same thing that works for me is not going to work for Kristin. The same thing that's going on with my body and why I put on weight and what's going on with her body. It's like there is no one size fits all. That's why every single diet, every single plan that you see, the fine print says results may vary because there is no one size fit all. So sorry, I will never be holding up no tea, fit tum tea, whatever the stupid teas are to make you lose weight, because it's really a money grab. They're going to create something, a pill that makes you all jittery that will kill your cravings for a little bit, but you can't sustain. How many of those commercials have you seen where they're like, if you took fen from this time to this time, you might be eligible for a lawsuit? Like all those things.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't. You have to find out. It all takes soul searching and really going to your doctor. You might have a thyroid problem. That was what I was going through. You don't know what's happening, and figure out what's happening with you and come up with a plan that works and that's sustainable for you. That's giving yourself grace, because you're looking at somebody else holding up a bag of tea and you're like, I've been drinking this for 3 months and I didn't lose no damn weight. It's just like, come on, guys. They try to get your money. You got to find out what is going on with your body.
Well, just like anything else, it's an industry, and they're not gonna, it's like you said, $1 billion industry, because people don't want to have to work at it. They want a quick fix. They don't want to have to do anything about it. They just want to be skinny now. So, but I think the most important thing, and the way to give yourself grace, is you really got to get your mind right first. Because if you're in an emotional problem place, you're going to grab for the cake. You're going to grab the bad stuff because your mind isn't right. If you're feeling good about yourself and you're in the right mind, you're going to have more fruits and vegetables. But it's kind of like a double-edged, like it's a circular thing, because the healthier you're eating, the better your mind will be. So it's like a cycle.
Yeah.
I quit drinking. I told you that. It's been like 82 days. And honestly, I used to crave bagels. Like I used to die for a bagel. I was like a bagel a day. And then I haven't had a bagel in like 2 months because I'm not even craving it. I'm not even dying for it. Like I don't even want it. I don't even want it. So it was like, the better you treat yourself, like it just helps your mind, and then your choices are better.
Yeah. 100%. Like that was the first thing. And I think the Van Lathan thing quote was what sparked it in me of this, like, oh wow, I am looking for instant happy, and figuring out what's there that I go to food for that. But then I was reading some books. My mother-in-law got me so many books for my thyroid condition. Thank you. But in discovering, when I was looking through that, the stuff that I was rushing to get me out of my depression or stress, like sugar, actually counteracts to make me more depressed. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm eating myself into a misery. And then I'm reading this book, This Is Your Brain on Food. And it literally goes through all the foods that you eat that messes with your mental health. Wow. And it's so true. And I had to go through those steps. I had to realize that what I was doing mentally and how I was using food as a crutch, then cut out the things and listen, not like a starvation diet. I don't even believe in that, but like really look at the things that I was having a bad reaction to, like a lot of sugar and gluten and all these things. And there's so much in the world you could still eat outside of those things. Yeah. We psych ourselves out like, oh my God, I can't eat anything I love anymore. But and then I could work out. It was like 3 months after changing my diet that I even had the energy to want to work out. But there's so many steps to it. But I think first it's just really discovering what's there for you. If you are emotionally eating, or if there's something like medical or something like that, it's a more sustainable journey than trying to just jump on something that someone else did and lost all this weight, and keep it off. You know what else I think this is true for, though?
What?
About the one size fits all? I think that the dating rat race, honestly, because there'll be times where you're like, I don't think there's a one size fit all, like, this is what you have to do to find the man of your dreams. Like, it's really looking at yourself and your journey and what you want and what works for you. That's going to get there. Because I remember you reading this book. What was it called? Like, you got to be a bitch or something like that. It's like, okay.
I still am reading it.
I was like, okay, girl.
No,
okay.
it does. It helps you weed. I'm telling you, it's like a miracle. It will weed out these guys.
I'm sure it will.
It's a miracle. I really want to have that girl on the podcast because she has helped me so much weed out the guys that are just literally want to play games. And it works. Like the guys that will follow the rules, they will be the ones to stick around and they will actually wait to prove themselves.
So tell me some top rules right now.
We're getting into the way off topic.
We're in the weeds, but shoot.
We are so in the weeds. Let's do it another episode because
I'll cut this whole section out.
We really need the rules episodes because the first rule is to be a creature unlike any other. And that it basically is a book to create boundaries to get that you're the prize. Yeah. You as the woman are the prize. And if this man is not going to pick you up, take you out, treat you with respect, treat you with dignity, you don't want that kind of person anyway. The coach put me on a very strict diet of the rules because I had no self-esteem and self-love for myself. And it really does teach you a set of boundaries that you're like, wow, I do deserve a man to like want to wait to have sex with me, to get actually to know me and treat me with respect and treat me like a woman and treat me like a prize. That's the rules. And like that you don't dilly-dally all day texting them back and forth. Like you have a life, you have other things you're doing. Even you don't have to tell them exactly what you're doing, but you have a big life and you're up to big things and they should want to spend time with you when it's convenient for you and him. Like, and weekends are like, you're not allowed to date during the week. Like you don't take during the week dates, only Saturday nights. You have to make them choose the date, them choose the place, actually generate it. And it gives you such a sense of freedom of like, wow, I'm actually worth a guy putting in effort. Because it took me a long, I had no self-value of that. I thought I deserved that. And that's why this guy I'm dating right now, we've been on, this will be our 5th date, but he goes above and beyond, even just for the dates. And we're literally, it's a courtship. It is a courtship. It's like building a friendship. We haven't slept together. He is putting in the effort to actually create something, not just like get in my pants.
Well, I'm praying for this one.
I know.
So I hope that goes well.
We'll see.
Okay, Kristin. Well, this is very special because I want to tease what we're going to do next week.
Oh my God, you cannot tell them.
I have to.
It's a surprise. I think you should leave it.
Hell no, we're about to promote the hell out of this. Ain't nobody gonna be surprised, child.
Okay, good. Fine.
So the story behind this next guest, Kristin absolutely adores her.
Adores, but you have to tell it from the beginning.
I am. Okay, you tell.
Okay. So obviously I'm single. You guys all know that. I was listening to this book, Why You're Not Married Yet. And if you have not heard it, you need to get it, but you need to get the audiobook because this woman talks to you like you are her best friend. You feel like you have a big sister, and it literally goes through all the chapters are like, the first chapter is like, you're not married because you're a bitch. And it is so powerful and it is so empowering and light and fun and funny. I'm just dying over her. So I called Stephanie and I was like, sent her a screenshot of this book. I was like, oh my God, I'm in love with this woman, Tracy McMillan. She wrote this book. I'm obsessed. I'm learning so much from her. It just reminds me of what things you would say to me, but I'm really getting it differently because she's saying it to me. She's a stranger, you know? And then you continue the story.
So I had the opportunity to interview her for Essence, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Kristin, I think it's the woman that you were talking about. And Kristen's freaking out. So after the interview, I FaceTime Kristin. I was like, Lord Jesus, please, I hope she picks up, because I got her sitting right here. I was like, my friend loves you. Can I just like face her? She's so sweet. She was like, of course. And then I have Kristin on, and Kristin, you were on the train or the airport. I don't remember where you were, but you were just so over the moon. It was the cutest thing. And I filmed their interaction, and it was literally just like a short free consultation of Kristin like telling her single woe.
I love you.
And Tracy giving her off the cuff advice. Like, this woman is absolutely incredible. So if you're in a relationship, looking for a relationship, you definitely want to watch this episode.
It's a Valentine's Day special.
Valentine's Day special. I would encourage you guys to send in your questions for this. Like, we're bringing you guys top tier relationship expert. So definitely send in your relationship questions, scenarios, and we will get them answered. But this is going to be one for the books. You don't want to miss that.
Yay. All right. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Instagram and message us. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for listening.
As always.
We love you.
Love you guys.